Hello, LinkedIn. Me again. I think we're actually going to try and get some t-shirts with that on it, aren't we, Andrew? So people that come in, they can get a t-shirt with me again on it. Maybe look at doing that after our birthday show. But hello everybody, thanks for joining today for Friday's LinkedIn live show, or the late lunch show as we call it. Before we get started, we've got Laura in with us, and one of the things is we all care so much about our people as being business owners. So we've had a couple of HR kind of representatives on the show before, but obviously Laura and I have had a few chats about some of the things that she's doing a wee bit different. So I bring her on, and you can never have enough people coming in and giving advice to try and help your people.
Absolutely.
So
totally agree.
Laura's here to try and help us with that. Before we go on and Laura starts telling us a wee bit about her business and some of these new things that she's looking at in her business, we'll give a big shout out to Bull Mango Media. Andrew, thank you very much. You can set the t-shirt sorted. Amelia, big thumbs up. Thank you very much. So we've got the full crew in, and then we'll go on to Grow. So as always, we give our sponsors Grow a shout out, and I have to say, I love the Grow guys. See it every week. Love the Grow guys. I wasn't in for my breakfast this morning, but I just went in and get the coffees and that. But we get good chat and the cakes. And there's a new cake which I'll show you in a minute. So in my cup, I've got I love you every day.
Yep.
Laura?
I've got the same vanilla latte, it's written as well. So
Vanilla latte, love you every day. Caramel latte for me. Andrew's on the normal latte, and Amelia's through there with the biggest cup of tea I've ever seen in my life. So for me, I've got it's like it did have a wee Biscoff thing on the top of it, but I've ate it because this was a new cake that I'd seen in there, so I'm saying I need to have a wee shot at that, and it's very good. And what you got there?
well, I've got my favourite. I've got Millionaire Shortbread, but it's got like a huge big dollop of caramel, and it's got I think that looks like a bounty.
That's the show's famous honeymoon slice. So that's what I normally have. Amelia's got one of them just now. I'd normally have that, but I'd seen that new one, so I thought I'll give it a go.
Try it.
Yeah. Okay, doke. Right, now let's go on with the show. So thank you for coming, Laura.
Welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem at all. So tell us a wee bit about your business.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I think it's a bit of a special year for this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So my business, Arena HR, is going to be 10 years old next month, which I can't quite believe. It's insane to think back this time 10 years ago. We were wondering, will this be a business? I'd done HR for a very long time, and I knew that I could do HR. I'm very comfortable in that space, but running a business is obviously completely different than just doing the HR from the other side. So fortunately for me, I was in a business accelerator program, Entrepreneurial Spark.
Aye, you were e-spark.
I was a chicklet in the hatchery, and a lot of people have got positive and negative comments to make about it, but it absolutely worked for me because I knew how to do HR, but I didn't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, I had 2 clients, and by the end of the month, I had 2 checks. So I was like, wow, this is working. So Marina HR was born, and funnily enough, I'd had the business name for 10 years prior to that, but I just had never actually jumped and done it because it's scary. Obviously, we know knowing you're not going to take a salary for a wee while and then going, well, I know how to do it, but how do I get clients? And I think being in that accelerated program, it was very quick learning. You did a 6 months program to push yourself, and I've just never stopped running since. And it's 10 years next month. I can't believe it. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to be celebrating that.
And was that how early on in the e-spark journey was that when you joined? So I was been going for a wee while.
Yeah, I think I was like the 3rd cohort, maybe like the 3rd year or something. So I was there for 6 months. You had to be interviewed, you had to do a pitch, you had to do an application form. It was sort of sold to me as a apprentice stroke Dragon's Den type thing. And like Tom Hunter would come down and speak to us like every month, so you were getting really amazing experience, world class salespeople. We did pitching every single week, so like my pitches, please don't ask me for it, but it's probably in there anyway.
Man.
It probably is in
there. Elevator pitch on. We've definitely got enough time for a 30-second pitch.
No, but you were taught that because you never knew, and obviously you just hone that to different people and stuff now. But at the time, it was just like, right, okay, that's how I'm going to get business, and that's how I'm going to get everything set up. So I'm still with the same bank. Some of my clients from those days are still clients. So I've been very, very fortunate. A couple of big clients came on at the beginning, which set us up to then allow us to get more clients when you've got that credibility. But we've always just, our strap line or our hashtag has been doing HR right. And that's just what we've sold, or I've sold from the very beginning. Whatever you think HR is, that's what we do, which means it's a very generalist, broad brush. You know, like this morning, 7:15, I was in Glasgow, unfortunately dismissing somebody. After this, I've got a meeting to talk about somebody's people strategy. Monday, I'm in Inverness doing training. So it just depends. The only thing we don't really do is recruitment, because we've got really good relationships with recruitment consultants. But we will do recruitment for our clients. You know, if we're working together and we know that they're looking for somebody, because we're really good at finding the person for them, because we can sit and go, right, you know, we know that this person's going to work for you and stuff. But we don't tend to do recruitment. We tend more to do like softer HR or the kind of harder stuff.
Because the thing is, obviously, because your business is more kind of embedded HR, isn't it? So it's embedded HR within. So you like the companies kind of outsource HR business, but internally with you're still more of an internal thing than just somebody that's at the end of the phone.
We're not a call centre. We've never pitched it like that. It was probably why I'll never be a millionaire, because we'd never have lots and lots of clients at one time. We have a small team of 6 people. We work really closely with the employer. We do all the day-to-day stuff. We don't really have template letters. You know, you wouldn't phone us and say, you know, can I get a template letter? We already know that that person's been off sick, and we're going to have an absence review with them, because one of my team will be doing that with the person. So it is a very close relationship. And because it is such a small team, we all know what's going on in all the clients' businesses. So right now, if somebody phoned right now, Rachel would answer the phone and she would know what the answer is. So she doesn't need to go, oh, I need to look up the notes, or Laura's in a meeting. You know, it's everybody knows, because we're small enough that way. Although that is about to change with the changes that are coming this year for us.
We'll go into the change in a minute, because I'm really interested in that. But that's where, as you say, obviously, I'm in the process of trying to scale a business. And that everybody knowing everything becomes tough. Basically, what I'd say, to see once you get above 10, it becomes tough, right? So it's tough for everybody to know everything. So and that's where we've got people that obviously were there at the start, where they knew everything that was going on all the time. And then as you grow and you've got stuff going on here, over there, everywhere, trying to keep that comms going, it's tough. We have a monthly communications meeting with all the team. And the purpose of that is that, I mean, it used to be that there was 8 folk on it, then there was 10 folk on it, there was 15, now there's 26 people on it. But the purpose of that is so you can try and keep the communication there and keep them abreast of what's going on.
Well, I think it's important to, that's where I would come in and say, well, it depends on the business, what type of communication strategy you're using. Because we've got clients that are multi-sited, so they'll have team meetings every week, and then they'll have all together catch-ups on one site every 6 months. But then we've got other clients that, you know, they're speaking to each other through their weekly newsletter, or we created an app a few years ago. I actually created it in 2020 in lockdown, just for fun. And we put a lot of information like on the app, so that people, like, not as it's important information, but it's not like immediate. So you can read it when you've got a chance to read it. You don't need to read it there and then. So that's a good way of keeping communication flow going on the sort of less, more, it's still important but not urgent, I suppose. But it is hard when you get bigger, because people have got to understand the change. And for me, that's what HR is. It's about change management. So if you've been the person, like your right-hand person that's known absolutely everything, and then they start specialising in an area because they're really good at it, and then they don't know what's going on, that's hard for somebody.
100%.
You know, there's a reason why your comfort zone is called your comfort zone. And I always say, it's a bit rude, but the only thing that grows in your comfort zone is your bum.
Your bum?
Because it is, because you need to move, you need to constantly be on the go.
I'm glad to put some context to that.
It's true. You know, your comfort zone, you sit there, you're comfortable, oh, this is nice, but you're not going anywhere because you're just sitting. So you've got to move and keep going. And you've got to take your staff with you, and you've got to understand what motivates them and what information they know and what information they think they know. And it's that making sure you're actively listening. You know, there's a quote that says most people, when are getting spoken to, you're thinking about what you're going to say next rather than listening. You know, you're not actually listening, you're just thinking, what will I say next? So there's not that proper actual listening. So you might think you've told your staff member something, and then they walk away going, oh, he said this, and you're like, that's not actually what I said. And it's just understanding each person's individual. So
and that's where see people that have got ADHD and stuff like that. What happens is you're already answering somebody's question before it's even finished coming out their mouth inside your head.
Yeah.
That's where obviously I do it all the time. My son's got it, Andrew's got it. So we've got... Don't snicker, Laura. It's not funny.
I hope he's allowing you to present that personal data.
By the way, Andrew, sorry. If nobody knows, sorry, I didn't say that.
But it's a strange one because neurodiversity has always been there for me because I've always looked at an individual as an individual. And that's the way I've been brought up, from my personality, from my home to my actual HR experience. But now we've got employment rights that are tied into that neurodiversity, and we've got employees and employers that are having to go, oh, I didn't know that. How do we work around that, or how do we help you with that? But yeah, the answering people's questions is... if you and I have had a night out, which we have, and I've had a drink, I'm finishing your sentences before, because I start to go like that when I'm more relaxed. But
and obviously when I'm drinking, I'm not listening to your questions. Aye, all right then, whatever, Laura. Aye. It's the auto eye comes on. But it's the same as that's what you're saying that about people. So when you're having a conversation with people, because that's something that I've struggled with my whole life, is you're having a conversation with people and you're trying to keep your mind on that task. And this is where, see working in an open plan office, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. So me and you're sitting having a conversation. I'm also listening to what's going on there. So I'm listening to all of that and trying to make sure you can focus. It's tough. And I spent years through my life trying to say, right, how can I make sure that I can focus in that situation where you're not focusing that, and then you're going, that conversation where there's actually really interesting, and it's not that the conversation I'm having with you is not interesting, but that's just as interesting. Your mind's going.
But that's why you're a successful business owner.
But because I've listened to everybody else's conversation.
Because you're juggling 15 things at once.
I know.
Honestly, the amount of business owners that we work with that are neurodiverse, some of them don't realise, but they are. And because they're tackling 15, we've talked about this already today. You've got 15 things going on before you even sit down to have this conversation. You're like, right, let's prep for this, but I need to remember that, and that. There's so many business owners that's what they do, because they are thinking, right, it's payday today. Do we make sure that's went out? I've got this invoice to go. I need to go and make that meeting. Oh, I've got that phone call to return. It's all going on at the same time. And you also know there's an opportunity over there. I think I'd like to go and look at that. So a lot of business owners actually do have that trait.
What was this? Can you remember the stats, Andrew?
35% of all entrepreneurs, 80% of the economy is run by entrepreneurs, 35% of ADHD, 35% of dyslexia.
I knew the percentages were high because I've seen yesterday actually we're getting more and more going through the employment tribunals as well. Because I think it said 2012 there was no mention of ADHD or autism, and then now the amount of claims that are coming in because the employees are thinking, actually, I think this might be happening to me, and are we looking after them? And we need to, and that's why we do our lunch and learns as part of the academy. We've done it on neurodiverse quite a few times because different people come into that course.
And it's understanding how those different people learn and stuff like that as well. But I think one of the things that we've spoke about before on this show, and me and Andrew speak about it quite a lot, is see when you're growing up with a neurodiversive challenge, we'll call it that, whether that's like ADHD, autism, any of these, whatever it is, and I count dyslexia in there. I don't know if it is classed as neurodiverse. Because what happens is, see, as you're growing up, you're having to find an easier way of doing things. You're having to always fit, because I had it at school where I would take something that was mega complex and make it simple. Because that's how I needed it to understand. And you spend your whole life doing that in everything that you do. So that's why I think business owners, that people, so many people that have done that, because resilience, change, simplification, standardization, all of these things that you need to run a business, you're learning all those skills for an early age. Just to survive.
Absolutely.
And then obviously when it gets to the stage that you do this, and also what you find is most people that have got those neurodiverse challenges is the status quo is never enough. Right. So I mean, for me, I've always had a major drive, and I see a lot of other people that have got neurodiverse challenges is there's always a drive for something else.
But how nice that we can create environments that staff can come and feel safe. When they've been through school potentially that's not been right for them, or they've worked in an environment where it didn't feel safe. But now we're getting more aware of these situations, that we can actually create a good environment where somebody can, you know, we've got clients that have got employees that are got different variety of different diverse conditions or superpowers, you know, I would probably say, because I think that is definitely one of mine. And we're creating spaces for them what's suitable for that person.
100%.
And that's, I suppose that's a message that I would say to an employer. Just because one person wanted a quiet space, like you're saying, you can struggle with that. Whereas, I mean, I've got tinnitus anyway, so being in a big space with tinnitus and listening to different things, that wouldn't really bother me. But I just need to know that when I put my earphones on, maybe don't come and speak to me, but I can still be in the space. You know, I think everybody's different, and you just have to take each individual as an individual. But then that's
100%.
my mantra anyway, because whether they're neurotypical or they're neurodiverse, it shouldn't matter, because everybody's got different personalities.
100%.
So you've got to take them as they are.
But the thing, obviously, there's a lot of things, the way the world's going, I would say I don't agree with, right? I think there's things that we're maybe going too far, but there is a lot of things that I do really agree with. And more inclusiveness and actually being more open to people's differences, I think, is a major one that is I'm improving. Because I can remember years ago where, see, if you were different, you get treated different, right? And you get, that's the, you just go and sit out there, blah, blah, blah. Right? Whereas now, it's not like that. People are more understanding. But I know that's all right saying it should be, but if you look back in the day, it wasn't.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely wasn't. Of course it wasn't.
What the world has now done is it's now made more of an understanding for different people with different ways in working and different ways in thinking and all that kind of stuff. But if you look 20 years ago, that wasn't the case.
But even if you think to like something that's like gender, like my mum would never have thought me going to, like, I went and went to university twice and did 2 degrees, then I've also set up a business. That's not something that was in my mum's idea when she was this age. She was like, no, you go to a payoff when you get married because you get paid off to go home and look after the children. That, if you just think of females, you know, in the workplace, we've had to sort of change that perception. Just because of your gender, you can't there's an expectation that you wouldn't do that. So even that in a number of years has changed. So hopefully we're just going in the right direction. But within, there's got to be some sort of, you know, reasonableness.
100%.
Reasonableness. And that's the other thing you've got to be mindful of. And that's something that I'm extremely passionate about when it comes to employers, because the way things are going, we need business owners. We need them to create that wealth, and we need them to create those job opportunities. But the way the legislation's going, it's getting harder and harder, and that's not fair on the employer, because there is a lot of legislation changes. There is a lot going for the employees, which is right in some occasions, and I appreciate that. But I've seen the changes over the last however many years that I've been in HR, and you can see some of the smaller employers are just like, I don't think I can afford this.
They can't afford it. It's too risky. Now, we were talking, they talked to somebody in the way in. I'm not quite sure who it was, but we're talking the way in, and we're talking about obviously the employment rights from day one. So somebody's got the full rights to, same as anybody else in day one. The reason that probation period there is to understand if the person is right for the job, the job is right for the person. Right. So to take that back to from day one, that to me is so you can do whatever you want in an interview process to try and understand if somebody's the right person for a role and the right fit for your business culture and all the rest of the things you want to do to make it a good, happy working space.
Absolutely.
Right. If you can get that right over 50% of the time at that stage, then I think you're doing well. It's then that 3-6 months period to try and see, right, so are they right? So 80% of the stuff they've got is right, there's 20% we want to work on. You've got that time to try and work on that 20%. Whereas now it's turning into the stage where you're not going to have that feasibility.
Well, I'm trying not to look at, I get that, but I'm trying not to look at it as black and white, trying not to, because I think, right, what we're doing now, we've been told we have to do, we've got this 6 months. So what it really means to me, like, we don't tend to work with employers that dismiss under 2 years just because they're under 2 years. We tend to work with people that are wanting to give them the best shot. I'm sure you're exactly the same, right? Of course you are. So all for me, I'm thinking this first 6 months of this, initial employment period, that should just tighten up your processes that you're probably already doing. My clients are already doing. They're sitting down and going, this happened in week 1. Do you need support with it? Or is it that you're not sure how to do it? You know, what's the kind of thing? And then week 3, then, week 6 or whatever, so many months down the line, so that you're not sitting down with somebody at month month 4 in 3 weeks. We're giving you a month's notice because it's not working out. Oh, nobody spoke to me in the last 2.5 months. So for me, I'm trying to change the mindset that it is scary because people think, I've seen it. Oh, Jamie, I've seen people being fantastic and then they get to 2 years and then it's like they come in and they're a completely different person. You think, oh, hang on, how can you pretend to be so good
for 2 years?
Because they know what happens after 2
Yep.
And there is always those rogue employees that, well, that's why I've got a job at the end of the day for a lot of that stuff. But hopefully we're in a better position where people can actually say, is this job for me? As well as the employer saying, is this the right...
See, from an employer's point of view, right, so there is, I've worked for some big companies out there, the 2-year thing was a thing. It just was a thing. But from an employer's point of view, so see those people that are that get to the 2 years, what you'll probably find is they've not been right during that 2 years and they're getting kept on for whatever reason, blah, blah, blah. So it means employers need to make the right decision quicker as well, if it's going to be that stage. So it's not wasting the person's time, it's not wasting the company's time. But for me, that's okay as long as you've got a period. Right, but
you've still got that day one.
So the 6 month thing is fine. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. But the day one thing I think is absolutely criminal for an employer because you're then. So if you think about everybody that comes in and doesn't make it through a probation period for whatever reason, right? That's fine at the moment, and everybody knows that that's what they're doing. They've got a probation period, and that's where it stands. And if they don't make it past that. It's no hard feelings. It was everybody's gave it a shot. Everybody's tried their hardest, and everybody's tried to do that development. So that process is fairly standard, and it's fairly easy to deal with for both parties, right? Yes, the employee might be going, oh, well, I still liked it here, but I do understand where my challenges are and why I'm not suited for the role. But if it starts with day one, then what happens is see the amount of time that people, what will happen is there'll be a lot of folk that will not take folk on. So see if there's a role you're going, I'm going to take a wee punt in you. That's gone.
I know.
Completely gone.
And
if it's going to really reduce the number of people that are getting into jobs. So say, for example, we look for somebody and we're going, right, we don't really need somebody for 3 or 4 months. Somebody comes along and goes, do you know what, we're going to take a wee punt in you. Right? That'll stop.
I'm glad it's not day one. I've got to say that. I think first and foremost, I'm an employer anyway, because that's number one is my staff, or this staff, because I don't really like saying my staff, but I'm glad that's...
The team.
Well, just the team, I suppose, but the idea that somebody that's not so much proving themselves, because you've got an interview to kind of have that conversation, but it might not be the right thing for them either.
100%.
We're trying to tackle the kind of rogue employers that are being a bit, inappropriate. So by changing it all to 1 day, so I'm glad that's not happened. They're just looking at it as a 6 months, tightening up your processes. And
but the one thing I'll say though is from me, and this is just government in general, right? So see right?
It's heavy for a Friday.
It's all right. We get into it nearly every Friday, one way, shape or form. But government in general, they are going, and rather than tackling the problem, which is their old companies, they're then putting a blanket thing on that makes an absolute nightmare for other people. So the people who do try and do the right things, they're the ones that are going, right, okay, we're now getting hit with a scare with so many things and not thinking about what is the larger potential negative output.
Agreed. I totally agree with you, and I feel the frustration as an employer, as a HR practitioner, to support the clients, and but hopefully in a year's time we're not looking back to this and thinking, oh, that we can't manage this. It is manageable. So we just need to get everything in place.
But the 6 months things, it's manageable. But see for if it did ever go to day one, it's unmanageable. So there you go. So see you're currently small, nice knitted team of 6. That'll need to go to 20, right, very quickly, because what will happen is every customer that you've got just now is going to be like, Laura, we need you. Laura, we need you.
But
Laura, we
that's
need you.
HR. I mean, we do it. Obviously, we do that. Of course, that's bread and butter for us. But I set up an HR consultancy to support good employers to be even better. But obviously, the odd one or two will phone and say, and to be fair, we don't tend to work with them. We've had a couple of people have phoned and asked for a price, and we've given them a price, knowing fine well they probably wouldn't come back. And one guy actually didn't come back. And then 2 years later, we've seen one of his employees won a case against him. And I thought, I knew, because when you get a vibe with somebody. And I thought, he's looking to see how he can cut the corners. And I'm not interested in that. We make commercial decisions. Of course we do. We understand your culture and your values, and we hopefully are aligned to that, and that's great. But when we feel it off something like, no, something's not right here. And he went away and did his own thing, and then that employee got money in the end of the day for being treated badly. So there was no way we were going to work with somebody like that.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Don't know who the person is, but if you're watching this, no, two's up. That's what you get.
As long as he pays that ex-member of staff. But no, I know it's just, to be fair, I'd rather work with somebody like that to change their mind. But somebody like that's never going to change.
But what you've got, there is people, and it's back to all the other things that we talked about, the things that we're doing for the good, right? I mean, there's still people that are like, don't believe in that, don't believe in that, don't believe in that, don't believe in that. Obviously, there's things that I'm passionate about and that I think are maybe going too far, but I'm still willing to change. I'm still willing to try things. I'm still willing to try and move the everything, the world into a better place. But again, back to what you said at the beginning, there needs to be a good, valid reason for it, and there needs to be a value out of it, or something that's going to be of benefit to everybody. Not just changing it because somebody somewhere in a government seat decides that this is their new fancy thing that they want to do.
1% of when actually the 99%
are they not
struggling? They're really struggling with the change.
Giving them
more work.
100%. No, so I think to see what you're saying there is entirely correct, and you can go to some companies and it needs to come from the top, right? See if the leaders don't believe in it. Doesn't matter what you or anybody else does, you're never ever going to be able to change it. So I'd imagine you need to be very kind of choosy about the types of clients that you work with, because
we're really lucky, Jamie. Honestly, we're so lucky. We've been really, I love our clients. I love them all, and there isn't anybody that I wouldn't spend time with. You know, we have get-togethers. Obviously, 10 years. We're figuring out what we're going to do for that. I remember party. There'll be something. There'll be something. But again, I would only be socialising with the business owner. I wouldn't socialise with the staff, because I'm always back of my mind thinking, I don't want to be sitting across for you in a week's time going, what's happening or whatever, you know. So we always do that. But we've got great clients that do want to do the best of our staff. They might have came along because I've maybe made a wee mistake at the beginning when I don't know why I did that and that's a mistake, and then we help them fix that mistake, and then they just stay on with us, and we've got different options for them to stay on with us. And then, as I was saying to you earlier, we're starting something new in September for all our clients and anybody else, to really try and change the landscape a bit more with the academy. So
come on, you're getting me excited. Tell us about the academy. Come on, hurry up.
I'm excited about
it.
So we had a soft launch a few years ago with our training academy. Obviously, I've been an HR practitioner since I was 22, and I know that's not that many years.
4 or 5 years ago, was it?
Absolutely. And I've taught management, HR, lots of different things at university and colleges, at evening school and stuff. I've always had my hand in doing it whilst I've been running the business and having my other HR jobs. And I always struggled with people coming on a management course and then going back to their office for a week and being okay, and then forgetting about it and just not really getting proper depth of the training. So I started working with the Scottish Qualification Authority, SQA, who are now Qualification Scotland, a year and a half ago, and we have completely designed a brand new reflective and practical leadership course. So it's going to be a degree level, hopefully, if we get it accredited at that level, which it should be, and people will be able to come on the course and learn how to be a manager, a good manager, for the next, I think it'll be 18 months we're kind of looking at, and then they'll have a qualification, which is an actual degree, SQA qualification, and then we've got a second course that's coming out, and that will be an HR qualification, because I've also taught the HR course, and I've seen people, without getting into detail, but I've seen people getting a qualification and thinking, if the union rep comes and speaks to you, you won't know how to handle that. If somebody starts crying in a room, you don't know how to handle that. So we've set up some businesses, which I probably should chat your door actually. We've got some businesses that are going to take the students on and allow them to be part of these sort of conversations. Because I'm really lucky, because when I started my HR career, I got a job in Direct Line Insurance. For the summer. I didn't want to work in, first year to second year, I didn't want to work in a bar, so I asked the lecturer, do you know anybody that's looking for an HR job? And mean, I was a bit of a swot, to be fair, right? Because I went back to uni after having a job after leaving school. So she phoned Direct Line Insurance and she went, my top student standing in front of me looking for a job during the summer. Do you know anything? She went, send her down. So I went down to Cadogan Street, walked into the head of HR and she was like, do you want to come and work over the summer holidays? I was like, I would have done it for nothing, right? And I was like, all right. I ended up working May to September. So I was learning whilst I was at uni. And then when I went into my second year, I had a wee bit of experience in Erskine Hospital, the veteran hospital had said, or the home had said, have you got anybody that would like to do 1 day a week? So I went into there 1 day a week, second, third, fourth year. So by the time I graduated, I had all this I'd been in union meetings, I had sat with somebody at redundancies, you know, I was coming out fresh with a degree, but I'd actually been and done the hard, the easy, phoning somebody saying you've got a job, your new career starting, I had the whole thing. So I've always taken on a student in the business to give them that experience. And I thought, you know, son, let's just turn this in its head and let's get people to come into real businesses with security and comfort blankets and stuff to make sure that's okay, so that they get a proper qualification that they feel proud of, and they leave and they go, I know how to handle this type of situation. You know, because you get a qualification, you've never done it. You've never done it before. You've got a piece of paper that says I've got this qualification, it says I can do this, but how do we test them, you know?
Well, that's what we do. We have practical training.
Oh, you've got practical training as well.
Exactly the same thing. So we've got people that can be certified to like seen as almost a very experienced and competent person in a subject, and they've never really done the practical bit of it or understand what they're looking at. So that's why we started. Our bit was to try and give them that practical bit before they go and get that certification. So they'll get the practical element and the theory.
So it's the same idea, but it's difficult because it's people in management is very subjective. You know, it's not, it would be great if it was a tool, but it's not. It's actually what tool in the toolkit are you going to use? Because this is Jamie, or this is Andrew, or this is Laura. You know, everybody's different. So, and I think I'm very lucky because my experience has been quite varied. You know, I spent nearly 10 years in the fire service, and that was good. That was good fun. I mean, I've got rose tinted glasses, I know that, but I did have a good time working there and really learning how to work with people, because it was every, you know, talk about inclusion and diversity, it was really a different type of people that you were working with across the whole of Scotland. So hopefully it'll all be there for the launch in September and all go swimming and everybody will really enjoy it. But I can see it being a really good thing and something good for everybody.
Especially because you've obviously got that, and you like to try and give something back. So you're a businesswoman, right? So that's fine, but you've got that bit in you that's also trying to give something back and develop people as well, similar to my same mindset. So the sales side, as well as whether it works as a business or not, the sales satisfaction you'll get with that will be massive.
Well, I do enjoy going into like the schools already and helping like the school pupils. We used to run an event every year. I don't know if you ever came to one actually, but we used to run an event once a year. Andrew came to one of them, I think, and it was 3 entrepreneurs telling their story. A kind of VIP night with 100 guests. You had a curry, you had a beer, and it was literally like, chill out, just hear the stories. And we always got school pupils to help us, like the business management hire class or whatever, and they would like try and sell the tickets, or we'd get raffle prizes, just something to do something for charity. And it was really, really successful, and we raised a lot of money for like Ayrshire Hospice and Beautiful Inside and Out, different charities. But see the pupils getting the real life experience, because they're sitting in a classroom learning how to do business management, and then I'm saying to them, we organise for them to go to the BBC and hear the radio, you know, the advert getting put in the radio, or they were phoning to get raffle prizes, or, you know, organising marketing and posters and stuff, whatever it was. And it was great for them because they were actually, the teacher was telling them one thing and then they were getting to do it. So we've kind of given back at that space, kind of developing the young workforce kind of space. But I think this is more, hopefully it'll be more sort of academic in the sense people will, you know, people managers that have never managed before, they understand day one, set your stall out and then move forward with it.
I think obviously I'm in no way, shape or form an HR professional, but I think I'm quite a good people person. And I think one of the things that I've always kind of did within my management and leadership career is understanding your people. I think if you understand your people, then 95% of situations can always be solved. But if you don't understand your people, that percentage will be down under 20, because what happens is rather than it being right, okay, we're sitting here together to get to the bottom of a problem and work it out, it then becomes that
they don't trust you.
They don't trust you. There's, and as I say, I can remember. So we when we first started the business, we had a girl that worked with us, and what she was in, and she was great, doing a good job and all that kind of stuff. And she had a couple of issues, and she taken a lot of time off and stuff like that to go to the hospital and everything like that, and blah blah blah. So we let her work from home, and we're very, very inclusive when it comes to all those kind of things. And then one day she told us a lie, and that person, they really, really, really hurt me. And I'm like that. I says, why would you ever think you had to lie? Obviously, transparency is one of our core values, right? So our core values are there.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of the biggest ones, because I always say to people, I don't care how bad the situation is.
Tell the truth.
Tell us the truth.
Always.
Right? You tell us the truth, and I says, then it's my job to work out how we get away from that, and how we move forward, or however we fix it. I says, but as long as you get the truth, you can then make sure you go forward for that. But if you tell lies, then we become in a very, very bad circle. And I was actually, that's probably the most kind of, I wouldn't say I was upset and greeting about it.
No,
but I was quite hurt by it, in the fact that she felt that she had to lie. And I'm like, why? I said, where does that
legislate for people?
That's
the thing, and it's hard being a business owner when you enumerate about things. And I've been there, because obviously I'm an HR person, so I don't want to hire the wrong person. And then if I think I have, I've got to deal with that, and it's one of my team, and that doesn't feel good. But I have made mistakes. I've interviewed people and thought, I think you'd be quite good for us, and then you start unpicking things and you think, I don't think you're telling the truth. And I'm like you, trust is the foundation of every relationship.
100%.
And if you don't have that, you don't have it, and you can't build it back up again. If you don't have that at the bottom, you can't build a relationship, and it's so important. But actually, this might be a good time for me to give me your gift.
All right, okay. Well, 2 seconds before he gives us a gift, right? Because I'm actually want to ask you something, right?
Okay.
You worked at Direct Line.
Yeah.
Right? So how many people had to get sacked for telling folk on the phone to beat it, or worse than that? Right?
Well, I was only at the start of my career, so I didn't do any of that.
Did you know? Because I'll tell you something, right? So she's a telesales person. I did telesales for a while, and holy, well, it was just part of the canvas and all that I did. And see the amount of times folk be like to me, fuck off, and tell you to do it. Oh, honestly.
I was in a wee bubble, so I'm just a first year student, so they never gave me any difficult stuff.
I was so good.
Recruiting people, I was doing annual leave, I was sitting in a big office with all the HR people. Do you know what? I think Big Brother had just come out, so every morning we were talking about Big Brother and Craig for Big Brother, so it was like a number of years ago. But no, it was, I never seen any negative sort of dismissal type stuff. It was all annual leave. And
that's where I'd love to have been sitting in those things where you've got somebody sitting doing like that. Right, so we'll discipline you. What would discipline me for? Because you tell somebody to F off, right? The guy was that beep, right?
It's a funny thing, because even though we do, like, or I do, dealt with loads. I mean, I had a dismissal on Christmas Eve. That was hard. That was really hard.
Listen, I've been part of a big giant redundancy process.
Not nice.
In Christmas, and it's
nice.
horrible.
I think if you're an HR person, you start enjoying that kind of stuff. I think you're. I think it's bad.
It's the same
bad if you like it.
It's the same as I can remember sitting down and see, I had to go through that process, and I'm in tears.
It's horrible.
Right, absolute tears, because that's how much I care about my teams, and I was in tears at the time. I'm like, listen, there's nothing I can do. And somebody turned around, and I'm going like that. I went, see, and there was somebody else in the business who went, what are you getting so upset about? I'm like, so you think that's all right? I says, you think that's all right? I says, I know it's a business decision. I know it's not me personally doing it. I know that it's the right thing to do for the long term of the business. But if you can sit and do that without it affecting you in any way, shape or form, you're
change your job.
Change
your job.
Aye.
I definitely believe that. I've had one experience of one particularly difficult HR manager who absolutely enjoyed doing things like that, and I thought, no, that's not good. That's definitely not good. I think it's you do that.
Tell me his name later, so as I control him on LinkedIn. Give him abuse.
I think
just for anybody that's watching it, I'll stick up for the people.
Yeah, it was not good, but I think I don't know, it's a necessary evil. You know, during COVID, we did a lot of redundancies. I mean, I was doing redundancies on Zoom all day because people were closed, and it was awful. It was awful. And like, we had some personal stuff going on at home as well, and obviously the kids were at home. And it was just absolutely awful.
Aye.
But you know that the other people in the business still have a job. and that's the kind of light on the darkness there, and hope that they're going to, the people that do get made redundant, you hear about people that set up businesses because they get made redundant, or they go into somewhere else, and you've got to try and hold that. But I've also sat at the other side of the table and been made redundant. It's happened to me once before, and it was particularly difficult because I just had a baby, so that was a really, really hard one. But yeah,
it's a business owner. This is what I always used to say to people, because I've took over legacy teams where business doesn't care about us, blah 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 blah, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
And you're like, listen, just so you know that she's a business leader. Every decision you do is for the benefit of the business. It's not for the leader, right? Well, unless you're just a totally selfish person, but most good leaders aren't.
You need to your staff.
You're sitting there, you're not making, like, see right now, I don't make any decisions that are for my benefit, right? Because I don't really get the benefit. The benefit's for the staff, for the people, for the growth of the business.
Absolutely.
It's everything, every decision is made for the business. But that's where, obviously, my team just now, obviously, yous are great guys. So they're brilliant because they're been there as part of that.
Yeah.
But when you've took over like a team of people that have been in a factory and they've been doing their job for 30 years and blah, 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 and they just think everybody hates them, the business hates them, all that kind of stuff. When you're trying to say to them, listen, this is for you.
Yeah.
No me.
But that's hard to hear when your previous experience has constantly been somebody coming in and going, I've got you, and then it doesn't. And then the next person comes in, don't worry, I've got you. Yeah, we've heard it all before. It does get to people. It does.
And that's, so I can always remember, see, I sat down with a guy, and if you might actually watch this, so, and you'll know who he is. So I used to say, well, listen, we're going to try this, right? We're going to try this. And they'd be like, oh, I've heard all this before, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, just trust me, try it. And then what I want is, I says, we will have this same conversation in 6 months' time, and you can tell me whether, thing me. And I ended up having the conversation in 3 months' time, and he went, Jamie, you did what you said you were going to do. It's turned out to be what you said it was going to be. And I apologise for things. And I said to him, you don't need to apologise. I says, I'm just thankful that you went with it. I says, because that's what I'm asking you today. I says, just trust in the fact that I'm not asking you to change for the sake of changing. We're not trying to change your whole world and how it's always been done. And getting that wee moment to go, do you know what? Didn't
but
believe
I think
it.
the flip side of that is to make sure that you would also put your hand up if it didn't work.
100%.
And I think people get a lot out of that. You know, employees get a lot out of that, where the gaffer does turn around and go, I wanted you to trust me. You understand the purpose of why I've done it. It didn't work. And this is the reason why. It's transparency. And it's like, but a lot of people don't, a lot of employees, even because they've not had that experience, and then get something like, why are you telling us the truth? Because that's what it's all about.
And it's the same as well. You got a lot of businesses. We're probably more open and honest with the people that we've got than a lot of businesses. I've always been like that. I can remember that's when we had a guy that was going to join us that used to work for me in Aberdeen, and they turned around and says, I can always remember Jamie used to come down and tell us the good, the bad and the ugly. At the end of the day, they're as much part of the team as I am.
I know. It's like what's my badge that I used to have? She's all right for HR. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll be all right for HR, because I'm like, because sometimes HR people can, I interview HR people and I'm like, I'm not recruiting you. You know, it's just like, oh, they can't do that. I'm like, oh, actually. Well, why are you saying they can't do that? We're not going into a business and saying they can't do that and they can't do that. We're sitting down going, right, how do we do this? How do we move forward? What's the result?
How do we make things work together for both
we're not
parties?
The people police saying your contract says, it's not in my job description. That's not how everybody works better together in harmony. So, and that's all we're a long time dead, and we want to have the best possible time when we're at our work. So,
I used to always say to people is, you will spend as much time here as you will do with your family. Why not try and make it enjoyable? And if it's not enjoyable, get another job. And I've said that to people all the time. So we talk about all the time in this as well. I want to make sure that every single person that works as part of my team, right, and any part of the business, is that seeing a Sunday night, they're not sitting going like
that dread feeling.
Oh man, I know. My working Monday. Because if they are, and that's what it says, they people, all the work need to do is come and say, listen, I'm sitting there on a Sunday night and I don't want to go to work. Right, okay, why? Let's look at how we can change that. And if it works out that they don't enjoy it or whatever, then that's when you go, right, we'll help you go and try and find something that's more suitable.
I had that personally with an employee who came in. She'd been off for a period of time and she came back, and I could feel her vibe was different, and I'm like, right, we need to have a chat. I says, what's, because she was brilliant employee, absolutely fantastic. I says, what's happening? She goes, oh, whilst I've been off, I've been thinking, I was like, I can feel it. I'm thinking about setting up my own business. I was like, just put your notice in then. Just put your notice in, I'll be your biggest cheerleader. And she was like, but then I'll need to go and run my business. I'm like, yeah. But that's good.
Put
Because
your big girl pants on and go for it.
Let's go for it. And she did. And I mean, I'll not mention because it's probably too sensitive, but she did. And she's very, very successful. And I am absolutely delighted that, I mean, I'm gutted, obviously, because she was a great employee and she was fantastic. And I loved it to kept her. But I could see she was doing, and she said that, she goes, I'm doing some of the stuff for you. And I'm thinking, I could do that for my own self. And I'm like, do it then, but don't do it, stay with me. But no, go and do it. And she did. She went away and done it. She's got a really successful business now. And I've sent people to her, you know, because she is very, very good. And then I've just, after that, I was like, I need to find somebody else that's just as good as you. And I'm lucky. The team I've got now is brilliant. We've got a new person starting on Monday coming, so I'm excited about that as well. So it's good. It's all good stuff. So
good. Right, all right. Never mind all that. What did you get me?
What did I get you? Well, actually, I bought these things today, and I thought some of them you don't actually need. This is a wee reminder.
Okay.
So this is some tablet or fudge.
Oh, I love.
To remind you to keep your staff sweet, but I think you already do that.
Okay.
Right. And this.
So 2 seconds. I don't know if there will be some of them watching. Right. So have a wee look at that, right? Because that's the last time you're going to see any of that.
It's just a reminder. It's a gift for you.
So it's a reminder.
It's a reminder to keep your staff sweet.
Right.
And then this is a reminder for you as a business owner to not burn the candle at both ends and take some time off.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. I think that's one of the hardest things to do as an employer. And I say that, and I'm listening to myself saying it out loud, knowing fine well what I've got this to do today.
I'll give you great advice, but I'm not very good at taking it.
But try, if you're burning that candle next time, think, right, when's my next day off, or when am I getting a wee bit of time to myself? Because you cannot run on zero.
Oh, no.
And it's very difficult because you're passionate about your business. But I got one of the best pieces of advice actually I got was from Billy Bowie. I remember I said to him, I says, oh, I'm going on holiday. I'm going because we were working with him at the time, with his internal HR team. I says, Billy, I'm that excited. My business is 3 years old and I'm going on my first holiday. And he's like, you're taking time off your business? I was like, oh. And he went, 5 years, Laura, 5 years. That's when you take your business. That's when you go on holiday. I was like, oh no. And he was right, because I wasn't ready, because I still had stuff to do. Whereas when it got to the 5 years or thereabouts, I was like, actually, I've got a staff then I trust, and I can have the break, a proper break, because you need a proper break. Not one of these breaks where you're still thinking and emailing and working. And that was great when he said that. And I thought, I was that proud of myself thinking I'm getting a holiday, but he knew I was working. I was still working. I wasn't present for my family. I was still, concentrating on other stuff.
Since starting the business, I've probably been in about, say, 8 holidays.
How old is it now?
5 years.
5 years, aye.
So I've been in 8 holidays.
And you worked in them all?
Every one of them. But on my birthday, 2 weekends ago, Andrew, so away from my birthday.
Good.
So Heather basically, because obviously up until then, I've been, even through Christmas, working flat out. Yeah. She's like, I feel like I'm a single mum with 5 weans and 5 dogs. Right, okay. She's like, so we're going away for your birthday, and I don't want any phones, any laptop, anything like that. Right, and then so we went away. We did a wee cabin just outside Whithorn. Yeah, lovely. Nice. Looking over the sea, and so I was like, right, that's fine. I'm not going to have my phone. No, didn't even take my laptop with me. Good. Because I didn't take my laptop with me, I didn't have any inhalers, any tablets, anything else, because everything's in my laptop bag, so I've never got it. Right, so luckily enough, I didn't take any asthma attacks or any allergy stuff. Thank goodness. Right, so I went down there, and probably, I would say, by the Saturday afternoon, I think she's like, you're a pain in the arse. You're a pain in the arse. You're taking man nothing.
No, but it's true. You need to have. You don't. It doesn't need to be a long time. It just needs a break, and your brain needs to switch. And I'm saying this out loud, laughing, because we went on holiday 2 years ago for 2 weeks. And day 9, I started to stop working. I took my laptop with me, and I got to about day 9. I thought, everything's fine. What are you doing? Come on. And then right, come on, we're going to go and do stuff, and we did it. But years
ago, so see when I first went into my kind of first main kind of management leadership role, so I can remember going on holiday. I went on holiday, this is my ex-missus, went on holiday, me, her, the kids, I don't know if I had 1 or 2 at the time, I can't remember, but anyway, the kids away, and when I go on holiday, my phone wouldn't work. Because I knew I'd moved to, I can't remember who I was with, but my phone wouldn't work, so I couldn't get any data on my phone. And then, so we're away for 2 weeks. The last 4 days of the holiday, I'd as well not been there. Right? I was an absolute nightmare. And she's like to me, so she, after that, she went, "Should we go on holiday?" So I don't want you working all the time. She's like, but at least twice a day, check your emails, do whatever you need to do. She's like, because that was terrible. Because you're sitting there and you're not actually there.
Because you're used to all the 15 things you think about.
You're sitting there and your head, they're talking to you and you're going, I'm actually taking in zero of what you're saying because all I'm thinking about is all this stuff I'm getting back to. But no, that's what's obviously been on holiday with Heather and the kids now. That's what we've got. I'll get up in the morning, check my emails, then while they're all still sleeping, they get up, do whatever they're doing. Then when I get back and it's mayhem, whatever they're all doing, I'll just go and.
But I think that's probably where, like, come back full circle, is probably where our business has been so successful, because when you've got a staffing issue, it eats into so much of your head, it eats into so much of your time. So we're able to sit down with the business owner and say, give us that over. Stop thinking about it as much. If you obviously the trust is, so it's like, give it to me. I mean, the one I've been dealing with in the last month, I'm like, and we've still got one more case that's still going on, and I'm lying in my bed at night thinking, because I'm a fixer by trade, that's what I do. So I'm lying there thinking, how do we fix this? How is it? What is that again? Right, what piece of legislation? And but that's my job to do that. And then you can go back to the employer and go, right, if you stop, and obviously you're always thinking about, if you've got a tricky situation, you are thinking about it. But I'm like, give it over to us, and it gives them that space back. And certainly the thing I've been involved in the last couple of weeks, or a month since we came back, it's literally been like, we dealt with that the other day, and it was just like, thank goodness that's away now. I'm like, yeah, we've got it. You don't need to worry about it. We'll deal with it. We'll unpick the stuff, because having that, because most people don't want to see other people being treated badly. 100%. So they're trying to figure out, is this person telling the truth, or is there a lie, or is it me? Or because some people go back to themselves and think it's actually me. I've got the issue, and you're like, no, it's actually this situation, and we're just trying to unpick it. So I think that's probably why we're quite successful, in the sense that we're not a call centre. Come back to that. It's just like, do you know what? We'll just give you that and you can address it. Because then obviously with the call centre, you phone a call centre, they give you the advice, and then you have to go and do it. We'll just do it for you.
Anybody can give you whatever advice you want, but it's dealing with the situation is a challenging thing.
And dealing with what they say when they didn't say what you thought they were going to say on the script. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but
no, it all sounds good. And your training academy, I think, sounds awesome. I think it'll be.
Hopefully,
I'm confident it'll be a major success. It sounds like something that'd be really good.
Yeah, it's been on the go for a long time, so I can't wait to we should be here in the next few weeks. Hopefully we'll be here at the same time as the birthday bash, and that'll be a kind of double celebration.
A double celebration.
Yeah,
brilliant. Perfect. Sounds good. Great. Okay. Anything else that we've missed?
Don't think so. Just thanks very much for having us on.
Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you very much for my presence.
You're welcome. Thanks for the cakes and the coffee.
No worries.
Great.
Right, thank you. Anybody that's still watching us now, thanks very much. People that are watching it as your Sunday viewing, because that's what it seems to be. Hopefully you have enjoyed that and you've learned a wee bit from Laura. And if you're trying to take somebody through that kind of HR kind of qualification and people qualification and learn how to be a good manager, look up our training academy when it becomes live.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.